doing? Today I'm talking about my Packout system for cabinet installation and some of the modifications and tools I keep inside it. So let's jump into it. I started out with the Festool Sustainer system with a standard roll cart, and it worked okay, but there were a couple issues. Really, the issue being that I couldn't find a drawer big enough for this 18 gauge brad nailer, and I use that a lot for cabinet installation. I still got to find a way to get it to nest in here better. That's one of the things that's on my to-do list, because you sort of have to just get everything just right if you get these two to fit in. But they do fit in. And so based off of wanting that, I came up with, I'm going to go with Milwaukee Packout. But then I had an issue. I knew I needed a track saw, and I couldn't find any Packout that the track saw would fit it. I tried this one, and the only way to get it in was to sort of modify the top and drop the blade. It wasn't working. I tried the standard roll base, but it always had stuff on top of it. So that meant the saw was out and around for the duration of the job, and I couldn't really work with that, because I wanted a situation where I could open a drawer and put something away immediately and then just have one cart. So having it on the bottom was a big problem for me. So then I came up with, let me just shove this away. I came up with, let's go with the drawers and let's make something to go on top of it. So how this whole system goes together is basically, I bought a standard Packout base and I mounted some plywood. I stole this idea from Insider Carpentry. His page is linked below, and he does a really great video showing how he's used a similar, probably a better dolly than I made, because he did 1/2 inch spacing and mine's 3/4, and I think that was a bad decision, because this sort of flops around if you see there's that movement that I don't really need, so it should be less, but hey, that's an improvement I can make in the future. But basically what I would do is I would grab this one, the tools I use less frequently, and snap it on. Easier said than done when I'm trying to face forward, but you got the idea. That goes on there. And then take this guy, snap that on. That one snapped properly. Then I would take this thing I made, which has a couple of feet on the bottom, and they just slide into the top of the Packout. I believe you can get those from Kaizen Inserts. And then what I would do is I would take my tool bag or additional fasteners, and that clicks on the top here with a similar kind of adapter. And then I've got some tools I use pretty frequently that I would pull out. I use a lot of drills in installation, so I would mount a couple of those on the back. They hang off just like that. And then I use a lot of glue when I get to the carpentry point, so I have my CA glue, and I use a lot of this for wiping up messes, cleaning the faces of cabinets. And then I've got, of course, wood glue, and then my little scribe. I use that quite frequently. So the tools I use are out and open. I wish my lasers fit a little better. And then everything else is easily accessible and goes in and out of the drawers. And then I made a nice handle on this so I can wheel it around the job site, and everything is nice and compact. And I even have one of these little adapters on the back, so if I have other tools, I can put this crate on the back, or I can even mount it this way. There's one other way it mounts. I believe it's, not even sure, like that, if I wanted 2 shelves. Or I could use an additional fastener organizer to mount on the back. But really what this ends up being is a place for garbage. And I also put this clamp on the back of this so I could hang a garbage bag there. And the reason it was important for it to be on one dolly was really because there's not a lot of square footage where I work, so I had to have everything in one spot. And this whole setup is meant for scribing, so extended styles, cut with a track saw, You've got the planer right there. Then you've got the belt sander for cleanup work. Everything comes out and stows easily. I put a couple spots for extra batteries, should I need them if it's a long job and it's a long way to the van. I have a different battery platform over here. So I have Festool batteries, 2 of them for the track saw. I went with the cordless track saw because normally I'd want my Makita one here because I have Makita tools, but this one has better cut accuracy, so I really wanted the Festool for that. And then I used an adapter for this rigid belt sander, so I was able to use the same batteries there. So this is just plywood, it's all glued and screwed, so this is really strong, so if it would fall over in the van, this wouldn't break. And I know that because it's fallen over in the van a lot because I haven't come up with a nice way of strapping it in, and it's pretty robust. It is pretty heavy. That's the main complaint people have had when they're criticizing this design, and it is heavy, but it's not something that I need to use that frequently. It only comes into the job once and goes out of the job once, so it really doesn't need to be that robust, and it's super heavy. That's the honest truth, but it will go over extension cords, and it does get all the tools organized, so if you're leaving them on the job site, everything is locked up and tidy if you've got a client there. Obviously I need to work the drawers out a little bit because it is hard to get things in, but typically I'll break it into 2 towers if I'm taking it out, but it is possible to just put this on and then take it just like that. But it's heavy, but I can do it, and I have a ramp in my van so I could just easily roll it up, but that's pretty much it. It's so far working. There's a couple things I'd like to modify about it, which would be I had a vacuum holder on the side. I had a spot for level, but it was just too big and bulky, so maybe I would do a flip down holder for that, or maybe I would switch to more compact tools like the Bosch cleaner, smaller than the Makita one, but it's a work in progress. Obviously I should have locked those drawers because now they're falling out. I'm gonna go deal with that. If you found this helpful, let me know.